Hey guys, so don't be so busy watching the messenger that you actually miss out on the message. Because if God desires to use a donkey to get his message across, a point across, he's going to use that donkey. We often look at the person's circumstances, the person's situation that is coming to us with a word or is coming to us with a message from God, and we look at that person, that situation, and we don't see the actual message of God. Um, in the Word, God often used the less likely, the lowly. He used the sinner. He used the scornful to get his message and to get his point across. Rahab was a prostitute. David was an adulterer. Moses was a murderer. And the list just goes on and on and on. He does that because he desires to receive the glory. It's not because of your goodness, not because of anything that you've done, but it's because he wants to show that he is God. We often look at somebody's demeanor, the way they dress, the way they look, their lifestyle, and we say that God can't possibly be using this person. But if he did it back then, why can't he do it now? I see people with tattoos and they're talking about God. Nobody wants to listen to them. I see people that are living a wayward lifestyle and nobody wants to listen to them. But we forgot that Christ sat with the tax collectors. He sat with the prostitutes. He sat with those that we would consider scornful. And even Christ himself, he was a bit rebellious. He healed on the Sabbath day. He went against all customs because he had to show them, like, I am coming to establish my kingdom. God will use anybody that he wants. Christ came in a manger. He came lowly. He came down to the lowest of lows. He's a king and he was born in a manger with animals. Like, come on. He could have came back in a palace, but he decided that, hey, I'm going to come back lowly. So sometimes too, when God desires to use someone, he has to humble them first. He's going to break them to pieces because God does not operate with the spirit of pride. He's going to break you down to your lowest so he can get the most out of you. It's just amazing to see how he works. He's not going to give anybody else the glory but himself. And he will humble you. He will humble you. He will break you down to the lowest of lows until you understand that it's not by your might, not by your power, not by your strength. My grandmother used to always say, and getting it from the word, she would say that pride comes before destruction and a haughty look before a fall. You see somebody getting prideful or pompous, look out, they're about to fall. So God uses the lowly, the humble, somebody that he can that their heart is pliable. David, he killed Uriah just because he wanted Uriah's wife. He put him on the front line, but yet God said, that is my friend. That's a friend. Why? Because the posture of his heart. Saul was a murderer of Christian people. God hit him down. God said, yo, I'm going to use you. And who could go against God? Who could go against God's decision? So we got to stop looking at the messenger and instead look at the message, because in this season, God is going outside of the box. God is not using the quote-unquote church because we've gone so far away from God's original plan. Like, we're worshiping the pastor, we're worshiping the first lady, and no one is actually receiving the message. That's the culture now of the church, is to worship the individual as opposed to going to get the word of God. We're actually making idols of these people. God doesn't desire that. So he'll use anybody that he wants. If he got to use a cat, a dog, a frog, he's going to do that in this season especially, because he's looking for those whose hearts are pliable. He's looking for those who are willing to fulfill his mission. Look at Rahab. That's a prostitute, but yet she saved those men. So, and that's the lineage that Christ came from. So, don't judge people. You don't know who you're judging. So, yeah, let God have his way.